Hey, how's it going? This is Brando from Brandlix Media, and today I'm going to bring you through the exact same ad account structure. I received so many different questions about how do you set it up, how do you scale, how do you optimize. I'm going to show you the same exact process of how we were able to spend $236,000 in a 30-day window. Actually, the last 30 days from today. And so a lot of people don't understand how simple it actually is. So I'm going to show you the most simple and profitable way to set up your ad account so that we don't go through the same question over and over again. It's actually a very simple process. I'm going to bring you through the exact one and show you how we set up the actual campaigns from like retargeting, prospecting, and scaling everything in this video. Okay, with no further ado, let's get right into it. Let me shrink my face. Boom. And here is the proof, first of all, so you can see, as you can see, $236,683 in the last 30 days. Let me just refresh so you can see that this is real. Give me 1 second. And yeah, so a lot of people ask me, and I receive, like, within my communities, both my free, my paid, my clients, literally everybody, they always ask me, how do you actually set up the account? What is the best scaling strategy? What is the best retargeting strategy? What is the best creative testing strategy? Like, how do you actually test your ad sets? Okay, so first of all, as you can see here, like $236,000, we only have 3 campaigns active. Literally, like, we have an ASC broad campaign for scaling, a retargeting campaign, which is a CBO, and I'll bring you through how we do it. You can set up CBO or ABO, it doesn't really matter too much here. And then we have an ABO creative testing campaign. Okay, now let me switch over to my other screen where I can show you the chart. Okay, so the first thing that I need you to understand is this: there isn't one way to scale a business. Okay, there's not one. There's probably an infinite amount of like methodology, strategies, and frameworks to actually, scaling a business. Okay, scaling, growing, whatever you want. And so setting it up, there's so many ways to set up a business, grow it. Like, there's unlimited ways. So I need you to take this with a grain of salt and just implement and get the framework of what I'm showing you, right? I'll give you a perfect example. Like, we don't and this is a real life example. We don't set up the account like we did for this client for all of our other clients. We try, right? We try to set it up in this way because it's a very simple version, and in most cases it works, but in others it simply doesn't. Example, for this client we used an ASC campaign to scale, right? But for another one, the ASC wasn't working too well. Like, it was getting good results, but it wasn't working too well, and so we decided scaling with we decided to scale with a CBO campaign. So once again, you have to you will never scale a business in the same exact copy paste way, even if it's like a direct competitor, like, selling in the same country or target market, whatever. You're never gonna scale it in the same way. There's always gonna be new differences, right? And of course, there's gonna be quite several similarities, but it's not gonna be the same. So let's talk about testing methods. Okay, so how do you test? Let's just assume that you have like a niche product, or sorry, a niche brand. So you're maybe in the skincare, hair care. You're maybe selling products for back pain, right? But you maybe have a selection of products. And so, first of all, if you have one product, you should divide your testing campaigns, not your testing campaigns, but your testing, your testing campaigns by product name or concept, right? If you just have like maybe multiple levels of like different products. Okay, in this example, like, we have 3 campaigns because we're literally selling like one product in several different ways. So we were able to just like really simplify it to like how I showed you, literally 3 campaigns. Okay, sorry if you hear some background noise. I'm in New York City, so bear with me. Either way, so what we want to do here is set up the testing like this. So we create a campaign by concept or by product, right? And when it's concept, I mean like maybe marketing angle. So you're going after like a specific. Sorry, no, the marketing angle is for later. I mainly mean by product. Sorry, excuse me. So let's just say product 1 ABO, and this is testing. Okay, what we want to do is set up three ad sets, or in this example, just three. If you have more budget, once again, everything depends on the budget that you have, and we go after broad targeting. And so I've explained this many times before. We're in an era where we should focus on creative and testing different angles, not really thinking too much about like what interest works, because the more you leave freedom to these platforms like Facebook and TikTok, especially Meta, and the more it will probably give you better results, because they're very smart platforms and they're data companies, right? So they have a lot more data than you. So if you tell, long story short, if you tell Meta what to do, it will go nuts. Like, you can, but not to a certain extent, where you literally need to tell Meta, okay, target this specific interest only for this type of person. It's better to leave broad, and with targeting millions of people. Okay, so one other thing to mention here is that you can do test broad. Sorry, you can test broad over here, but if the account is fresh, I've noticed that sometimes broad doesn't work as well. So if broad doesn't work for you initially, try testing. You can test interests. Of course, they work amazingly, but just make sure that you either stack multiple interests in one, to have enough of a population. Like, you target at least 10 million people, for an example, or that one interest that you choose is over 10 million people. So for example, if I go after e-commerce brand owners, right, like yourself, targeting e-commerce would be great, because I think the e-commerce um, interest has like 250 million people or something like that. So that's a perfect example. And so what we want to do is like split test by angle, and so each ad set is going to have its own individual budget, angle 1, angle 2, and angle 3, and then of course each ad set is going to have multiple ads. And typically I don't like to test more than like 3 to 5 ads, depending on your ad set. I received this question a lot, actually. How many ads should I set in each ad set? It actually depends how much you're spending. If you're spending $10 a day, you can't set up 20 ads in there, because what's going to end up happening is that the $10 that you set up at the ad set level is going to spend across 10 different ads, and what's going to happen is that it's going to distribute the budget too much, and so you're going to have to wait like a month to figure out what ads are working, because each ad is spending so little. Well, on the other hand, if you only have 3, and let's just say that, to keep it simple with numbers, you set up a $15 a day budget, then $5 is going towards each ad, technically, if you divide it into 3. And so you get feedback loops in a much faster way. Okay, so this is what I would set up. And then of course, if you're testing maybe another product, I would maybe test a different campaign to it. You could also test it in the same campaign. I just like to keep things like very simple and organized, not to have like things that get cluttered too much. Also, because whenever even if it's just for one product, you can end up testing like 50 different marketing angles or approaches or whatever, creative tests, right? And it can get quite cluttered, especially if you're doing like multiple products. Okay, so this is simple, and this is how we do it. Is it the only way? No, because we've done also CBO testing campaigns where we set up the same thing. Instead of ABO, it's CBO, and then we just let Facebook choose where it wants to spend. Sometimes we try ABO first, because sometimes we've noticed that Facebook doesn't, it doesn't spend where it could potentially spend and do well. So I'll give you an example. For one determined client, we launched like 3 ad sets to start off in a CBO testing campaign, or sorry, like 5, and then most of the budget went towards 2, and the other 3 were like, they were not really spending. One was also profitable, but it was just not spending. And so what we did is that we got the same exact ad set and put it into an ABO, so that we have control over the budget, right? Just so we're on the same page. The CBO you don't have control over where the budget is being distributed across the ad sets. Well, the ABO you do, right? So we don't want to have full control, but we want to have control where the money is going towards. Okay, leave it broad, test your angles, focus on your creatives, but we like to try to test it once again where we're controlling where the ad spend is going towards. Okay, is this the only way? No, it's not the only way. It's just like what we like to do and what kind of works for us. Once again, for other clients, for another client with a different product, different account, different niche, especially different ad account, because some ad accounts work in different ways. We have another strategy, and right. So, but this is what we like to test. Now, let's go after retargeting. Okay, now we set prospecting, um, and one thing that I want to note here is that we actually exclude we exclude um, warm audiences, so retargeting audiences. So what we do before we set up the CBO campaigns is, like, of course, if you're like starting from complete scratch, then you shouldn't even worry about retargeting, probably in the first couple weeks at least, uh, or if not months, because you don't have enough of a population to retarget, right? So don't worry about that if you're starting out initially. But what we like to do is that eventually we like to exclude audiences, retargeting audiences, because we want this campaign, this testing campaign, to only target prospects. Sorry, not prospects, completely cold audiences. So like a prospecting campaign. We don't want to retarget people that already know who we are, that have seen our Instagram page, that liked our posts, right? That added to cart, initiated checkout. We want to keep those for another campaign so that we can personalize the ad targeting even more, and show them very specific ads based on their behavior. Okay, so that's is this the only way to do it? No, but we've actually also run campaigns where we just leave it as it is, but we figured out that it's better to show personalized ads rather than just like random ads, right? And so this is the setup: exclude retargeting audiences, right? You can go into Facebook and exclude audiences, right? Now, retargeting, very simple. There's pretty much a couple ways to do it. There's not a couple ways. There's many ways to do it, but this is how we set it up for this other client where I showed you the account. Retargeting, we did a CBO, and where we have like I believe it was like um, two or three ad sets, and so and each ad set basically had a different retargeting group. But we've also started just stacking. Um, this is more lately. We started stacking all these groups together. So like people that engaged with us in the last 365 days, video viewers 75%, 365, and so add to cart 180, right? And so one thing to note here is, as you can tell, like 365, we're retargeting people for the entire that essentially engage with our Facebook for the entire year. For this other example, we're retargeting people that initiated checkout in the last 180 days. One thing to note is that if you set up retargeting and it's you don't your frequency is like just like 2 or 2.5, which is not high frequency. Higher frequency, and what you should aim for is like 5, 6, 7, 8, sometimes even 10, right? If the frequency is too low and your ROAS at the same time is low, then it probably means that you need to not stretch, but like the opposite of stretch, like bring closer. Like instead of doing 180, you maybe do 90 days. You retarget only the people that added to cart, initiated checkout, and viewed your content only in the last 90 days and not 180 days. So those people are more aware of who you are. They probably didn't even forget who you were, and so they're like warmer. So that's just a side note. So retargeting, CBO, retargeting stack. You put all the retargeting stacks all together, and then you can run very specific ads based on who you're retargeting. One other thing that we noticed is that we tried doing initiate checkout, add to cart, and something else, I don't remember what it was, into just one stack, so one individual ad set, and then to those people we did like a specific coupon code within the ad copy, and so that really worked really well. And so we were like, oh, I noticed you visited our website. Also, the ad was saying it. We had the UGC creator actually say it. Image ads also really work well for retargeting, by the way. And so what we did is that in the ad copy, we literally told them, here, we noticed you shopped by. Here's a 10% VIP super exclusive deal that you can get only within the next 72 hours, or like we created urgency, and it works super well. Okay, the other one that I really like to run, and you can do this in an ABO or a CBO, it doesn't matter. But in our scenario, we did everything under one campaign. So we had one CBO campaign with a retargeting stack, and one CBO campaign with a dynamic product with a DPA campaign. What's a DPA campaign? Well, a DPA campaign is extremely powerful because it allows Facebook. What essentially does, if I go on your store and Facebook knows that I went and essentially shopped for a mug or whatever, I will essentially, you can retarget me with that same mug, and it will do it for all of the customers. So if you have like 10 people that saw 10 different products on your store, you can apply that same feature to those people, and so it's dynamic, which is extremely powerful. It's personalized, right? And so if you're showing a personalized ad, chances are it's going to work way better than just a non-personalized ad. So this works very well. You can actually also do it with prospecting. So you can run cold audiences to dynamic product with DPA campaigns, and Facebook will kind of guess. So you just have to connect your catalog. So Shopify, Meta ads, you collect your catalog so Meta knows what products you have, what's your catalog. And so if you do it for prospecting, so completely cold audiences, um, if Facebook knows that I have a higher chance of purchasing a mug, it will show me the mug ad, right? So you can do it for both. We like to do it for both, but it really works well for retargeting. Since we're speaking about retargeting, you can use this for retargeting. Okay, this works very, very well. Now, what happens for scaling? How do we scale? So there's two ways to do it. Not two ways. Once again, there's many ways, but there's a couple ways that I like to explain, that I'd like to go through in this video. So first of all, if something is working well in the ABO testing campaign, scale what works. Just make sure that you don't scale to, for example, like if this ad really works well and it's giving you like a 3 ROAS, 5 ROAS, you spent maybe a couple $100, and it's at 5 ROAS and you want to scale, don't just get this ad set and increase, like triple the budget. It's not how it works. If you do that, you will end up like de-optimizing the entire ad set, and chances are like 2 days later it's not going to work anymore. It's going to completely go down in performance. So what I suggest you to do is increase the budget by 10 to 15% every like 3 to 4 days. So if something works for like 3 to 5 days, good. You increase the budget by 10-15%. Then another 3 to 4 or 5 days go by, and then you do the same thing. You can maybe do it. You can be maybe a little more aggressive, maybe 20%, but that's probably the most that I would do if I were you. One other thing that works when scaling is that you can literally just get the ad set and duplicate it. This is like a 2015 ad strategy, but we've noticed that sometimes it actually still works. So we can get the same exact concept, same exact ad set, duplicate it, and like triple, double, triple, quadruple, whatever, 5x the budget, so that you don't reset the by duplicating, you don't reset the learning curve. Because once again, if you go from $10 a day in budget to like $100 a day, $50 a day, $70 a day, there's like a new learning curve that Facebook needs to go after, because you're telling it to spend more and go after more people, right? And so it's a different optimization process. So once again, you can duplicate it, test it, right? Duplicate it maybe 2 or 3 times with like instead of a $10 budget, like maybe a $30 or $40 or $50 budget, and you see how that works. Sometimes it sticks and it works, and then you can do the same thing until something doesn't work anymore. So once again, this is called a testing. Let me just iterate here. ABO testing campaign, creative testing campaign, but it doesn't mean that you cannot scale within this campaign. I just want to make that very, very clear. Okay, so that's it about this. Now, what other ways can you actually scale? We like to use 2 ways. Number one is that you can just get your best winning ad set, and just put all of your best winning ad sets that are like really profitable into a CBO campaign. So it's scaling method 2 that we like to use. And so what ends up happening is that you end up having like winning ad sets. And of course I distributed these 2 because these are like, 2 different products, whatever. And so you're going to end up having like, 5, 10, 15, 20. For one of our clients, we had like, 50 winning ad sets after the span of like some months. And so you basically tell Facebook, okay, these are the winning ad sets. Decide where you want to spend. And you set the budget at the campaign level, right? Because it's a CBO. And then you use the same exact ads. Don't redo the ads, just duplicate it. Because if you redo the ads from scratch, of course you lose the social proof. We don't want to lose the social proof. We want to duplicate these ads so that we don't lose the social proof into the CBO scaling. Okay, so this is one way, very traditional. The other way that we like to do, which is how we set it up for this other client that's spending $240,000 in the last 30 days, is that we were scaling with like ASC. I always get confused. ASC, whatever, you get the point. And so it worked super, super well for this client. For another client, as I told you before, it wasn't the absolute best, but normally, like if you put your best winning ads into here, it works super well. How does it work? You only have control of your budget, what countries you want to target, and and you're creative. That's basically it. You don't have much control over other things because it's like an AI campaign from Meta. And so what you want to do here is like group all your winning ads and then let Facebook choose where it wants to spend. One thing to notice here that is really important is that since you don't have control over where Facebook is showing your ad, you're gonna notice that to who your Facebook is showing your ad, you're gonna notice that the frequency for this campaign is higher because it's actually including some retargeting. So that's also another reason because we want to exclude the retargeting audiences here, because we know that once we're going to scale, the ACS is automatically going to retarget some people, maybe like 10-15%, sometimes even 20% of the budget. I'm not entirely sure, but just by guessing, by looking at the frequency, which is the frequency means on average how many times does somebody actually see your ad. So if your frequency is 3, on average people see your ad 3 times. Okay, so this is a great strategy to scale. Just know that if you see the frequency go up, it's because they're probably also Facebook is choosing to do some retargeting with some prospecting, along with some prospect. So this is essentially the entire ad account structure that we used. Once again, CBO for ABO for creative testing. You can still scale here as well if you find some winners, and get the winners and put them into the scaling campaigns over here. Try an ASC, Advantage Shopping Plus campaign, try the CBO strategy, and then we like to do like a very simple retargeting stack with like personalized ads. And this is how we do it. Once again, there's a million ways. Is this the only way that we scaled an account? No, like especially in the last whatever 6 months, it's not the only way. But we're trying to push and change kind of all of our ad accounts into more like a simplified version like this. Before we were running a lot more CBOs and a lot more campaigns, and so we're pushing all of our clients to have it set up in this way, so it's a lot more easy to analyze ads, and we can just focus on creatives and angles, which is where the money comes from. Okay, so that's it for this video. I know that it was a little long. Let me know if you have any specific questions, and so that I can, you can give me some insights on some other videos. If you're interested in joining my communities, there's a free one, but there's also a paid one for $49 a month. You get access to my time. There's weekly calls. I give you a bunch of resources. There's modules. I tell you how to hire people, how to edit videos, how to do meta ads, how to do Google ads, basically modules that I essentially don't launch online. So if you're interested about that, just click the link below. And if you have a current brand doing between 30, 50, 100,000 or plus per month, and you want to get to the next level, which is what essentially we do at our agency, feel free to book a call. I'm not sure if we're able to help you because we only work with like 12 to 15 clients, so we have very limited spots. But if we do have a slot and we actually can add value to your business, then we can have a chat about it. Okay, that's it for this video, and see you in the next one. Bye.